challenger or any player. So a lot of people, when they talk, okay, they always say like LOL tank meta, right? And they're always like, oh, League of Tanks, everything's tanks, tank meta, etc. The problem is that it's actually not a tank meta. Now, it may be a tank meta in the sense that you see a lot of tanks, being, like, it's a very confusing term, and you can't marry, the surface of the term with what it actually is. So, okay, a lot of people are like, man, I wish that, solo kills and solo lanes could be a thing again. Well, that's never gonna happen. Ever again. That period of League of Legends is actually gone forever. So let me explain something, because I haven't actually ever seen a pro player or an analyst or a coach. I haven't seen it on Reddit. I'm not saying that they've never said it or they've never thought about it, but I haven't seen anyone say it and it garners enough attention. We're never having a Season 2 again. We are never having a mid laner solo kill his opponent 3 times in a competitive game. That will never, ever happen. That will never occur. And then top lane. I know that a video got posted to Reddit about, the wet noodle fight, where the 2 top laners, I think it was like a Zac hitting a Maokai or something. And, the battle rages on, and, they basically deal no damage to each other. And, that still does happen in some situations. But at all points, tanks were still able to hurt AD carries. And they were still able to hurt AP carries depending on how much damage they soaked up. Now, something people talk about a lot, and they like to throw around the term, is they're like, oh, bring back this meta, when it was like Zed versus Orianna, or Orianna Karthus, and, Zed and Yasuo, Talon, mid Jarvan, Katarina, mid Evelyn. That will never exist. And the reason that it's never going to exist is because the game has evolved too much. And because the game has evolved too much, if you go on a Platinum ID or a Gold ID, Silver, Bronze, solo kills are still going to occur. And they still even occur at Master and EU West, especially on NA and EU. But if you observe Korean solo queue, at Master and Challenger level, or Ionia even, the Chinese server, solo kills are very, very rare without jungler influence. And as NA and EU's solo queues continue to get better, and as the game continues to evolve, what's going to end up happening is solo kills are going to become more and more rare without jungler interaction. Now, always at the lower elos, is it going to remain the same? Yes, a master player or a high diamond is going to be able to solo kill a platinum or a gold or a silver or a bronze, but that's because those players' understanding of the game, their concept of mechanics and what they believe to be mechanics is flawed, and it's not solid, and it's not refined. So of course they're going to lose out to players that have been, they've been refining their work, and they've been crafting their ability to play the lane, manipulate lane, trade damage, foresight, etc. But we are never going to have a Season 3 again. It's never going to happen. And nowadays, when a solo kill does occur, like Febiven killing Faker, or like a top laner getting a solo kill, that's why it deserves so much recognition, is because that is such a difficult feat to do nowadays in competitive play, but also equally in very, very high tiers of solo kill. Now again, on NA and EU, it still exists a lot, and I'm not saying that on Korea and China it never happens at Master and Challenger, but it is much... It's very rare. Very seldom do you see it happening as frequently as it does on other regions. And this has nothing, it doesn't actually necessarily have to do with the regions. It has to do with how serious the game is being taken, and how serious the game knowledge is being accelerated by the community, trying to strengthen how fast the knowledge is consumed, refined, and then dished out by, the players and whatever. So that's not going to happen. And the tank meta, now you can sit here and you can say Maokai sucks and Ekko sucks and tank this, tank that, tank this, and Ekko is a tank, and suddenly fucking Lucian's building Iceborne Gauntlet, and then, Ezreal is already sort of half tank, and then, AD carries are sort of a fucking tank. They have Strox, Gauge, they have Maul, which gives them basically, 400 or 500 HP against magic attacks, and it gives them a huge MR. huge MR against magic attacks. They have the QSS. They have lifesteal, which inadvertently is tankiness, whether people want to accept that or not. But no matter what, tank or defense is always the correct way to actually play the game. Because if you were to put 5 supercomputers against 5 supercomputers, the only way that kills would naturally occur is either imbalance between the matchups or through fog of war. That's the only way that something would naturally occur. And if a fight would be disadvantageous, you would not see a fight break out unless it was influenced by something that, you know, one of the teams could not control. And the reasoning for this is because defensive play and punishing of mistakes is vastly superior to forcing mistakes, and we can see that all throughout history. So tanks in themselves, when they're able to itemize a certain way, and when they're, you know, at their core promoting an extended team fight, when they are promoting longevity, when they are promoting all of these aspects which are the core fundamentals to proper macro play, you're never going to see a shift back into micro. So I presented to, you know, a few people, well, how do you, you know, take away from the tank meta without fundamentally destroying the game? You can't change minion HP. You can't change tower HP. You can't change the items to just somehow gut tanks. You can't do that because that would break the game. That would just completely shatter the game. And then all of a sudden, you technically go from having this tank meta, right, on the surface, and then what ends up happening is everything's a knife fight where everyone has 100 HP and everyone deals 90 damage. Well, now who do you think is going to be picked? Not the people that deal 90 damage, the people that can survive the 90 damage. So even if it's not necessarily a tank by, you know, normal definition, it's still a tank in itself because it is the champion that enables the team to live longer and to outplay the opponent more. And that's just a fact. We're never going to get Season 4 back. We're never getting Season 3 back. The game has evolved too much, and we as a community, as a player base, we are continuing to evolve. Gold, silver, bronze, platinum, diamond, they're always going to stay the same, but the higher tiers, diamond, master, you know, challenger, professional play, it's never going back, and people just need to give up on that dream. They're living in the past. They're not living in the present, in the reality of, you know, the growth that is League of Legends and how fast advancing the meta is in just the general player knowledge, and that's just how it is. And you can see that in so many historic video games. You can see it in StarCraft, you can see it in Warcraft, you can even see it in other games. You can see it in chess, you can see it in checkers, you know, you can see it in fucking, I don't know, Battleship maybe, you can see it in Risk, you can see, like, I can just keep pulling out stuff. Sorry, I just had to reply really quick. And that's the reality, you know? Like, there is no tank meta, it's just correct meta. Now, on the surface, it looks like tanks, but honestly, it's not really about them. There's an underlying problem, and you can't fix the underlying problem without breaking the game. And even if you try to break the game by forcing everyone to have a knife fight, what's going to end up emerging is going to be the most tanky of people.